It was a beautiful gathering of 900 family members and friends for Nick Bollettieri's celebration of life. There was always a smile on your face when you were with your dad, Nick. What was it like growing up with Nick Bollettieri as your father?
It was fun. He yelled sometimes, but that was love, so it was all good.
So when he yelled, what were some of the yelling
Um,
about?
he would get annoyed with us sometimes, so when he yelled, you just had to say yes and move on, and that was about it.
When Nick came into my life, like a lot of things changed. I was adopted, so he gave me the opportunity to come here. When my mom and him adopted me from Ethiopia, really just gave me a new chance at life. So my whole life changed then, and then being with my dad, he's charismatic. You're always doing something quick, something new happening every single day, and it was just great feeling. I'd say most of the time when we were younger, we'd go to the beach a lot. He'd want to go golfing, go on drives, just night drives. I remember at Christmas time, we'd be just driving around looking at lights kind of thing. The simple things, like going fruit picking and stuff like that, yeah.
So Nick was a good old down-to-earth type guy.
Oh yeah, he sure was.
Dad didn't care if you earned $8 an hour or if you were a billionaire. He could see a person for what they were. If you had a good heart, that's all that mattered. I mean, literally, that's all that mattered. He could go into a 7-Eleven and eat a hot dog, and that was the best thing. Then he would just go into a 4- or 5-star restaurant, and he'd be like, I'd prefer to have that hot dog down the street. So Dad had that quality where he didn't ever judge. He could take a billionaire or somebody off the street who had nothing and treat them exactly the same. And I think as family, we all learned that. And as siblings, I mean, that is one of the things that we're all pretty darn good at.
Oh, my dad was a child in a lot of ways, so he was very playful. And I think that's a really important characteristic for a parent to have. He was great at it, from the spitballs to he had a great sense of humor.
Gosh, it's more about what Nick means to all of us more than anything else. I mean, just what we see around us today is the work that he did for over 61 years for our sport. We love him so much, we'll remember him forever, and we'll do our best to make sure we continue his legacy forever.
I don't know about celebrations, but I do know that it was an incredible experience to be able to be a part of Nick's life for the time that I was, and I love him always, miss him terribly, and all the 900 people who are here today is just part of the loving community that he created over the years, and people around the world, he affected their lives, so it's quite a legacy that he left, and we definitely will miss him.
Basically, I feel responsibility. Nick built this incredible place. It has grown and grown. I want to keep his legacy alive. I want to continue to do the job that he did. Obviously, things have changed a little bit. There's many more sports than when he came, so it's not just about the tennis. But I want to continue to do what he did, which was change lives, change kids' lives. That's something that he did beautifully. I hope to, in some small way, do.
It's going to be the fact that I brought my whole family down here because of Nick. We all moved to Florida, made a huge impact on our life. And sure, the kids became pretty darn good tennis players, but most of all, he helped build their confidence and find joy and confidence in their lives.
You run the Sarasota Open. Nick was a contributing factor in the success of the tournament. How much fun was that running together?
I was thrilled to include Nick in this Elizabeth Moore Sarasota Open, and he brought such passion and dignity to our tournament. It didn't have him before I ran it, and he was an integral part. This year, the Sarasota Open is going to honor Nick with a special honor because he meant so much to us, to the kids, and to the game of tennis.
He was the greatest, and this was an incredible celebration. I never would have expected such a tribute to be to the families from Cindy. I mean, it was it was wonderful. Nick would be so happy, very happy about that.
Beautiful.
Well, as you probably know, I nominated Nick to the Black Tennis Hall of Fame because of the immense commitment he made to the minority community in this country. And unfortunately, he's not recognized for having given so many children of color an opportunity to play tennis and learn and get tutoring. And, you know, the number at this point is about 80,000. 80,000 children that Nick helped minority kids. And I'm just so proud that he said that was as important to him as his induction into the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Well, it was a great time. You know, it went back into the 70s, and in 1979, we played the U.S. Open together for the first time, and he got international recognition and success. I'm still the youngest who ever played the U.S. Open at 14 and 5 days, and we were going all the way, baby. And this was a wonderful celebration of his life today, and it was amazing. You know how many people he's touched, and it goes back decades. And it's a family, and a lot of this comes full circle in terms of people's. Tennis is a small sliver of a lot of people's lives, but you learn so much about life and social connections. And Nick brought it all together, and it's just amazing that, you know, Jimmy Urias was at the academy when I started, and so
Carling.
Yes, but Jimmy, comes back, and now he's running the place. And it's also funny because now I moved back to Bradenton on February 3rd. So you know, it's a lot of connections.
Celebrating life with Nick, he changed. I mean, you can feel it in the room here today of how the influence he had on how he impacted everybody to live life to their fullest. And I always say if Nick could live forever, he would have lived forever because he lived life to the fullest. And we're here to celebrate him today. It should be a happy moment, and look at all these relationships that people have built from all over in the industry and all over the world.
Nick writing a book, another chapter.
Yeah, well, which book? He's written so many, but he's always, we're the editors. He's always wanting to know, how about this? How about that? What do you think about this? So I remember that vividly just a few years ago. So, that's Nick for you.
Never a dull moment. The enthusiasm, the energy that he would bring, the passion that he would bring to our conferences was
He spoke
second
at
to none.
every one, I believe.
Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was awesome to have him around, and he was always so generous with his time. Really made things worthwhile to run the conference.
Well, it was funny because obviously Dennis Vandermeer was our founder, and at the end of Nick's career is when we really got close. Nick came and he spoke at the PTR Symposium. He came to the Italian PTR Symposium. And then we worked on several projects together, which was really exciting for us, and it was great for our members.
Everybody recognized him. I mean, I'm sorry it's emotional for me, but I loved him so much. Really did.
Good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nick was an amazing man. He gave me the opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm just so grateful and thankful that he chose me to come down and be at the academy on a full scholarship. And now celebrating his life here. It was incredible to see all my friends that we grew up here at the academy, and now they're my family.
Just always a positive push. Go forward. Get as many people as you can to love this fabulous game. And Nick Bollettieri brought it to the masses more than anybody.
We were very honored at Florida Tennis to have Nick as a contributing columnist for 25 years, never charged a thing. But about 20 years into that, I got a call from IMG telling me, we're going to have to charge you to get his columns. I thought it was going to be a few $100 or whatever. I called Nick, and Nick said, Jim, forget that. Don't listen to them. You're always going to get them complimentary. And all of his columns were always positive, always a great spin on promoting tennis, promoting sportsmanship, and all of life.
I love the stories today about how his energy and his passion. I mean, when you were on the court with Nick, you knew it was going to be intense, and he had an uncanny ability to see the smallest tweaks and the smallest things in your stroke, and like how he motivated people. Really changed the course of my life, my tennis career, and then later on, those same kind of hard work ethic. Like, you could not get away at all without 100% effort, and that's carried on for me past.
I wouldn't have had that job if it wasn't for Nick Bollettieri. My first job in the tennis industry 30 years ago was running World Team Tennis, the Florida Twist, for Nick Bollettieri. And he was just wonderful to me and to my boys, to Tucker and Michael. And we love you, Nick. We really do. What a guy.